Welcome to another video. Today we're going to be doing a very special video. We're going to be watching at GALA. GALA is a cryptocurrency that has been defying the laws of technical analysis for the last 2 years. It has come from 2 cents all the way up to almost 85 dollar cents. And today it has plunged down all the way back to 4 cents. Today we're going to be checking whether this is a good buy, whether there are places we need to take into account, and I'm very pleased to have you. On the 12-month time frame, we can see that we've had a huge, big green candle followed by a red candle that's still inside the green candle. So no need to be worried about that. From the 6-month perspective, we also get the same view. Not a lot of special things have happened. The quarterly is starting to show a little bit more candles. Since this is a fairly new cryptocurrency, we can see that we've had 2 big green candles followed by a smaller red candle followed by a big red candle all the way underneath the red candle of October 21. The monthly time frame will start to give us a better view. From the monthly time frame, we can see that the cryptocurrency is losing some of its volume while going down, which is considered quite bullish. Now we can also start to take a look at indicators. Our favorite indicators are listed right here, so we'll be taking a look at the 3 simple moving averages, and today I'm also going to be adding the moving average convergence divergence, also known as the MACD or the MACD. MACD hasn't even really formed yet, so at this moment we can only take a look at the candles. Candles, big green one, followed by a lot of small declining candles. This really was the signal for the last push down. Going into the weekly time frame, we can start to see some more interesting things about GALA. GALA has been skyrocketing from the start. We've had a huge increase followed by a few weeks of consolidation, followed by a huge increase, and then we've had a small decline. We went all the way from the top, all the way from around 85 cents back to around 15 cents, following a huge breakout to the upside of around 30 to 35 cents. Based on this, you would be able to say that prices were going to be skyrocketing again, but then we've had a small decline followed by an uptrend, and this was the candle that stopped it all. The MACD is currently also already formed, so that's something that I'm going to be sharing with you in a few moments. We can see that starting from this bearish engulfing candle in March 22, we can see that we've been declining for quite some times. We've seen that we've tried to make a new uptrend right here, but we failed again yet due to the bearish engulfing candle. Followed by another bearish engulfing candle, and this is slowly starting to look like a bottom formation pattern. Depending on this weekly close, we could start to see some new good signals. We're trying to get some lines in here so we get a better view of what's going to be happening. We are going to be highlighting this area, this range, because this was the range that it previously had the support on. And as you know, support turns into resistance when it's broken, and resistance turns into support when it's broken. So from this point on, you could see that we've been up all above it for about a year. We then fell right into it, but it didn't really give too much support. We've had some small support tests here, following the retest of the bottom of this zone and going way down again. And this is where we start to take a look at the MACD. The MACD is a indicator that when the blue line crosses above the orange line, you can usually see that prices will start to increase. And when the blue line decides to fall below the orange line, the signal line, we can get a view that the prices should be declining. You can see that we have been in bullish territory since around 1st of August. And this really hasn't been taken into account yet. We do see that the volume is still declining from falling down. Well, when you have lower volume and prices are still decreasing, you can see that the sellers are losing pressure. For this week, honestly, what I would like to see is that the prices are going to be staying pretty much above 4.5 cents. So if you get an increase of a few percentages, we could start to see a Morningstar pattern form. The best thing we would like to see is for this green candle to eat up both of these, which would be a pretty significant buying signal, especially if this is combined with higher volume. And then from the daily perspective, we can see whether these signals are getting confirmed. The red line is the 50 moving average. The 50 moving average stands for the indicator of trust, of confidence. So when we touch the red line, we are supposed to go down further because that's the confidence of the trend. Unless we break up. And when we break upwards, the goal usually is the purple line. And the purple line stands for the 200 moving average. And the 200 moving average is a very well-known indicator. And it's the indicator known for the trend. Once you are above the 200 moving average, the general consensus is that the price should go up. And when you are below the 200 moving average, the general consensus is that we should be going down. You can see that the purple line is currently on the daily time frame, is currently within the zone indicated at the previous consolidation zone. So that's something to take into account. Taking a look at candlestick patterns, we can see that the last 3 daily candles have been quite bullish. This candle has been engulfing this one quite until the end of the previous candle. So this would be considered a bullish engulfing candle, followed by another bullish engulfing candle, followed by a candle that has been sold all the way down and bulked back up. Buyers are starting to show some confidence here. This is a very particular moment where we should start to see some interest in the coin. Taking a look at solely at the MACD, we can start to see a W pattern forming. A W pattern is a pattern that is very strong in technical analysis. A W pattern is usually known as a double bottom, but this also works in indicators. As you can see right here, the W is forming, and a W usually means that the strength of this move is very, very high. We've seen this in Bitcoin when it went down to a bottom, and we are now seeing it on GALA. So it depends on what's going to be happening, but for sure this is a very bullish signal. Taking a look at the price patterns, we can see that the price has pretty much been in a down spiral, but also the lows have been coming less low, which would indicate for me that we are kind of in an indicator like this, and this is usually considered a bullish wedge. When we go into this zone and we break out, we usually aim for at least 50%, so that's right here, and when these break out, we usually aim for at least 50% to 75%. This would be the conservative goals. However, wedges are also known for breaking outside of the range, so we could get something like this and then break above, indicating a end of a downtrend. One of the most favorite indicators to look at, in my opinion. Taking a look at the lower time frames to see whether this view is getting confirmed, and I would love to say that this is getting confirmed. We can also see that we've been starting to get some pretty decent up moves. We can see that we have now been trying to get back at the 50 moving average, which we did. So we broke above, we got back into a resistance zone, we got back to the 50 moving average after breaking it, and we've confirmed it as support. So the next logical move would be to go towards the purple line right around 4.5 cents. And 4.5 cents, as you might have remembered from this video, 4.5 cents is also the area that we would like to be above to close above the previous 2 weekly candles. Based on this technical analysis, GALA USD is starting to look like it wants to do some magic. I'm going to be removing my small scribbles right here and taking a look at what else is going to be happening. Let's take a look at the smaller time frames to see whether this view is getting confirmed. At this moment, on the smaller time frame of 2 hours, you can see that we've already broke through the purple line. Broke through it with a bullish engulfing pattern right here. Let me zoom in so you guys can have a better view of it. Breaking above this candle means that you have a bullish engulfing candle. And a bullish engulfing candle, you would usually like to enter one around 50% to 75% of that candle. And we have quite touched that area. So if you are fast enough after seeing this video, you might be able to get yourself a position inside this 2-hour candle. The 1 hour and down below is starting to look. The 1 hour and down below are starting to give more signals. The 1 hour seems to be slowly heading into the resistance and not sure whether it wants to battle out. Let us draw a small rectangle right here to get a view of what this resistance area actually is. This resistance area seems to be focused between 0.041 and 0.041, but in the lower end, so the lower end and the higher end. This could mean that a lot of resistance are coming next, because we also have this resistance zone right above it and then these resistance zones. But remember, we broke out of the wedge, and this wedge is the thing that we are holding on to. Also remember that the higher time frames are more important in technical analysis than the lower time frames. So the lower time frames can give you quite a distorted figure because there is way more noise in them. If you want to be hypeful, hopeful, you could also say that on the 15-minute time frame we are starting to make a head and shoulders pattern which would break out upwards. However, I don't like to trade these patterns, so please keep that in mind. For the longer term, the most important things right now are to do, in my opinion, is to close the weekly candle above 4.5 cents. If we get above 4.5 cents for these weekly candles, you can see that we have clearly broken above the last 2 weekly candles. If you can get that with a little bit of volume, especially a volume at least more than the previous 2 weeks, then I would say that GALA is in a very good place to start longing right away. Taking these zones into account, taking this technical analysis into account, I would love to hear what you guys think about GALA. Is GALA going to be making more steps ahead, or is it doomed to make another decrease? Do you think we will get to 1 cent before we get to 12 cents, or do you think that it's only bullish momentum from here on? I would love to hear what you guys think, and I would also love to see you in the next video.